Star citizens, and welcome to another video. This one's going to be one that I think is ready now that we have the Q&A. The Ironclad versus the Ironclad Assault. I know people are still trying to make up their minds. Well, some of us. There's a few people that are already like, I am sticking with the Ironclad, and a few people who are like, I am sticking with the Assault. So obviously, I'm going to make a pick here, but at the same time, I do think both of these are great ships. So if you just came to get my pick, then I'll just go ahead and give that to you right now. It's the Ironclad Assault. If that's all you came for, see you later. Peace. It's been a real one. Other people, stick around and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about why these both are necessary and why we need both of them to succeed, but why I think the Ironclad Assault is the more I guess we could say unique one of the bunch. Before we get started though, we always got to talk about our ship contest. So we are currently doing 2 ship contests right now. Well, one is a ship contest, one is a giveaway. So the giveaway is, of course, you have to make sure you like or dislike all the videos from this month, and make sure you leave a comment on all the videos from this month. And then at the end of the month, I will do a drawing, and then you will be entered to win a Sulian with lifetime insurance and 2 ship paints. And then for the other giveaway, which is a contest, you have to bring at least 2 people to the game and have them purchase the game using our code down, or it should be down there or up there, It's one of them. It's on the screen somewhere. And you can either choose between a Saber Firebird with lifetime insurance or a combo pack, which has an Aurora MR, a Nursa, and a MPUV tractor with lifetime insurance and a game package. So then you could use that as your game package. So it has all 3 of those things in it. So you could choose between the 2. And yeah, all you gotta do, bring 2 people to the game using our code, make sure they purchase the game, and then a third person can use whatever code you wish, but it's gotta be 3 total people to the game. And yeah, and then you automatically win that one. That one, you're not entered into a drawing, you automatically win it, and you just get to choose your prize. So that, I think there's a few people that are sitting at, I noticed there's a few people that have like 1 or 2, but they haven't sent me their 3rd one. So if you're one of those people who brought somebody to the game and you used our code once or twice, make sure you send that 3rd one or that 2nd one so that you can win the prize, because some of you are just right there. But there's still time because it's a first come, first serve. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get to our video. All right, so let's take a little trip down memory lane like it was 2 years ago, but it was actually like 2 weeks ago. The Drake Ironclad. All right, let's just scroll down a little bit and see what are we dealing with here, right? We're dealing with one which is a cargo ship and one which is a cargo ship mixed with an assault ship mixed with a few other things. So better yet, instead of going on this page, let's hop over to here. So this is pretty much everything that the Ironclad is, right? Its role is considered armored cargo if you go by the brochure. If you go down here, the Ironclad Assault is considered a heavy dropship, even though it's called Assault. So I know dropship and assault kind of go hand in hand, but they don't technically mean the same thing. But yes, armored cargo. So both of the ships are armored. That's the first thing. They both have a crew of 6. Their length is 120 meters, width 52, height 20. This is where we start to differ. Cargo 1536 up here. It drops to 1152 here. That's a difference of about 380. Then we have the, or wait, no, something like that. Anyway, quantum drive. The quantum drive and the quantum fuel tanks, all the same. Shield generator and radar, all the same. All right, then you have pilot seat, co-pilot seat. Here's where we start to see a few differences. 2 remote turrets, 2 man turrets. This has 4 remote turrets and 2 man turrets and 34 jump seats. Now, one of the things that we don't talk about a lot is what jump seats mean for a ship, right? Now, generally with the ship this large, you're not really worried about oxygen capacity or anything like that, because you expect there to be a lot of people on the ship. But if it's built into the ship that 34 extra people are meant to ride on this ship, I'm going to guess that when oxygen comes in the game as something you have to manage, this ship is probably going to have a little bit more of that stored, because it has 34 people that are meant to just be in the jump seats. Now, another part of that is when I think about the crew that you're going to need for a large cargo ship like this, assuming that you're not going to auto load it or unload it, you're probably going to need places for them to sit, like decent crew quarters, right? Like you got 6 people, right? You got crew quarters for 6, but you're probably going to need more than that or want more than that. So I think having these 34 jump seats as places to sit for people, I think is a big thing that we're not really talking about. And also that oxygen capacity. It's not something that we talk about that often because it's not that big of a deal. But hey, this is a versus. This is a battle. So every inch counts. If you've ever been to war, I'll tell you, every inch counts. That matters in a lot of different things. Anyway, so 10 thrusters, 2 retro, 4 VTOL, 18 maneuvering. I think that's what MAV stands for. I think that means maneuvering. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. And then we have, this is again where we start to differ. So this is very telling, right? So I'm pretty sure all turrets are standard as dual turrets, right? Like I don't think there's any single turrets. If I'm wrong, comments let me know, but I'm pretty sure all turrets are dual. So when it's a standard turret, we're talking about a dual turret. So I don't think unless somebody knows if it's anything different, I don't think we need to say dual turret. I think we could just say turret, and then the expectation should be that it's 2 guns mounted to like a little bubble thing that can shoot outside the ship, whether it's remote or manned, right? So this is the differentiation. So we don't need to say dual, but we do need to say quad, because quad is a lot more rare, because it's like 2 turrets in one, because now there's 4 guns instead of 2 guns. So it's literally like 2 turrets in one. And you know the damage that those extra guns can do, because we all know what the Corsair can do, right? And I say the Corsair because obviously it's Drake, right? But also because it's still one of the DPS kings, right? So we know what 5, 6 guns can do. I mean, look at the F8, right? If you get in front of that thing, you're done, right? So it makes sense that when we see quads, like a quad size 5, we know that that's some decent firepower. Now, it only has 1 of those. When we drop down to the size 3, this is where it gets interesting, all right? So this has 2 size 3 remote, and this has 2 size 3 remote. But if you look in between here, you can see this has 2 size 3 remote quads in addition to those original 2 size 3 remotes. So you're adding not 4 guns, you're adding 8 guns to this thing, because that means you're gonna have size 3 remote, size 3 remote. Those are gonna be dual and dual. So that's 4 guns, right? 2 here, 2 here. And then you're adding 4 and 4 in some other location, right? So this thing is going to be, it doesn't have as many turrets as like a Hammerhead, and obviously the Hammerhead is more equipped to deal with this thing. But if you have all of the turrets manned in this thing, it will definitely be difficult to take down. It has the armor, and it's going to be very difficult to take it down, because not only does it have the armor, it has a lot of guns, right? And that's before we even got to the size 1 or the size 3 man turret. So this one has 4 turrets by itself, which is already decent enough. That's decent. It's not great, but this is ridiculous. This has 6 turrets, not including that interior turret, because the interior turret is like somebody's boarding your ship and you're trying to shoot them inside the ship. That's a little different. But this thing, 6 turrets is solid, right? And then when you look at where they're placed, right? So I look up here, you can see 1, 2, and then you could see 3 here, and these are tractor beam. This is a tractor beam here. But I think the other ones are like underneath. So let's do this. I think if we go here and then we click here, let's see. I think we can look underneath. There we go. And let's do this one too. All right. So you can see here that there's a turret. There's one turret underneath. So this main turret, I'm going to assume is like a 360 turret that can, you know, do everything. But I think this is the size 5. This looks like the largest turret. This looks like the largest turret. So I'm not 100% sure exactly where the size 5 is going to be. But you can see that there's, so this turret and this turret here. And then when we hop over to the Ironclad, you can see that that turret is not there. Okay. But also a thing that this is not showing is these are quad turrets. So it'll be these 2 and then another 2 guns. And then the same thing here. And so we go back here. These are some of the size 3 turrets. And I forgot to reset my mouse thing. So sorry for the excessive scrolling. But yeah, here it is. You got, these are going to be quads as well. So this thing, again, it has to be fully manned. Like, we're not talking about, you know, just driving this thing solo. If you're flying this thing solo, we're not talking to you as far as this thing being capable. We're talking about people who are fully manning this thing. Okay. All right. So that's the weaponry. We can keep it moving. All right. So they both have the same amount of pilot controlled missiles, which I think that's all the pilot controls is the missiles. So there's 4 size 5s and 2 size 4s, or no, 4 size 5 launchers with 2 size 4 missiles each. So that's 8 total missiles. So just to be clear, same thing here, 8 total missiles, and they're size 4 missiles. So this isn't a missile boat. This is just something that's meant to, you know, if you're shooting missiles with this thing, it should be to make people break contact so you can escape. I wouldn't depend on missiles unless somebody is just like sitting still in front of you and you just have a open opportunity, right? But I think the missiles that I would take with this are, you know, I would take missiles that are more meant to just make people break contact so I can switch to nav mode and escape. So wouldn't really use the missiles that much. And I also wonder if they're like bespoke, or if I can, because I would actually prefer, you know, because if I don't know if these launchers can like do a step down and carry like smaller missiles, but I would rather have 16 size 3 missiles than 8 size 4s, just because I feel like I could do volleys of 4, and I have 4 volleys of 4, which is much more useful than 2, I guess 4 volleys of 2 or something like that. But anyway, I digress. All right. And this is the part where they're telling you this is what you're supposed to do with this ship. This ship, the Ironclad, has 3 size 2 tractor beams. Okay? It's meant to move stuff in and out of the top and in and out of the front. It's not, the front is not wide enough to fit what it seems like what they're trying to explain to us is that the front is not wide enough on the Ironclad to fit tanks through, whereas this one is more than wide enough to fit tanks through. So I'm not assuming that you can't fit tanks through this one, but it's probably like a tight fit if you can. But I would say don't buy this with the intention of being able to drive tanks up that ramp. Buy it thinking that if you want to transport vehicles, you're gonna have to use these tractor beams to put them in through the top, and that's how you'll have to transport them. So it's not impossible, it's just a little awkward to do. And I think that's more so just to you know, you don't want these ships to be too powerful, so you have to balance them in some way. So making it to where this can't fit tanks through it is one way, right? And then you have, that's the main attraction here, is that it has the 3 size 2 tractor beams. That's huge. That's a big deal, right? Most ships have 1 or 2 tractor beams. This has 3 of them. So that's 3 separate people that can operate tractor beams in 3 different locations, meaning, if think about it, if you got this much cargo, you have 1,536 SCU of cargo, and you want to move those 32 SCU cargo crates, and maybe even 64 SCU. We might see, my guess is we'll see larger cargo containers, but I don't know. But let's say 32, you can move 3 of those at a time. That's almost 100 SCU of cargo every time you pick up, drop. That's 100 SCU every time. If you got, again, this is assuming a fully crewed ship. That is fast. That's like 15 minutes of loading. Whereas if you had 1, you're talking 45 minutes of loading, right? So, I mean, assuming a fully laden, right? So it's a big deal. Like, that's a lot of cargo to load if you don't have tractor beams. So Ironclad is rad, just like they say in the video, right? To me, it just became the best cargo ship as far as bang for buck. It doesn't carry the most, it doesn't carry the least, it doesn't cost the most, it doesn't cost the least. It's right in that sweet spot for cargo. So if you are solely interested in cargo and you are willing to spend at least $400 on the game, this should be the ship that you have. You could CCU to it still and probably save $75 on it. So you should still, even right now as this video is coming out, you should be able to get this for $375 if you CCU right. Even with the CCUs that are currently available. If you save it, because the ship's not out, there's no reason to CCU all the way to it. If you save your CCUs, my guess is during the next ship sale, maybe Pirate Week, you'll probably be able to get 1 or 2 CCUs that'll drop it down to like $325 or so. So you can get this for $325, and I'm telling you, I think it's the best cargo ship in the game. That's not in the game. It's not in the game yet because it's still a concept, but I think right now it's the best bang for your buck cargo ship that you can purchase. Now, let's talk about the Assault, right? Because this is Ironclad versus Assault, right? But I have to sing the Ironclad's praises because the Ironclad as a ship is still incredible, right? But this thing I think changes the game a little bit, right? It doesn't lose enough cargo. 380 cargo when you already have 1,000 is not that much. It's enough to where if my sole purpose was doing cargo, I wouldn't want to lose it. But it's not enough to make me be like, I would rather lose all the other things this comes with just to do that extra 384 of cargo. Because in that case, I just bring a Caterpillar with me. Like, there's other ships that can come with me that can carry 300 SU of cargo. Like, for instance, I have a Raylan that carries 320 SU of cargo. Come along. Like, it would make more sense to me to just bring that other ship if I'm that worried about that extra 300 SU of cargo, right? But again, there is something to be said for having one ship, you know, and having it multi-crewed all the way up. So I'm not going to count that as a plus, but I will say that I don't think 380 cargo difference is a drastic difference. I think the biggest thing here is we may lose this secure freight storage, because if you look here, it doesn't look like this has the secure freight storage. So I'm pretty sure you could just assume that it doesn't, right? Because this is obviously the same area. So my guess is this is where we don't have to guess. In the Q&A, they said basically they're trying to figure out where to put it, and it's probably going to end up being here where the secure storage area is. So that's another thing you're kind of losing with this is this one doesn't have the secure storage area that this one has, but that's not confirmed yet. It's very possible that they have like a smaller secure storage area, but we just don't know. So we have to wait and see on the secure storage area. So I wouldn't, that to me is not a huge difference maker. It's one of the things that adds to the Ironclad, right? If you know for a fact that you're going to need to hide some stuff or keep some stuff locked away, then yeah, put it back there. But here's the thing, right? When I think about secure freight storage, right? I guess the main thing is you don't want people to be able to sneak onto your ship and take that stuff while you're not looking, right? But honestly, I don't particularly care that much about any type of cargo that I'm going to carry. If I did, I probably wouldn't be leaving it unattended. Because if I have stuff that I really care about, I'm taking it from point A to its destination. I'm not stopping anywhere. I'm not leaving my ship. The only reason I would want that is if some way I could lock it, and then if my ship was stolen, that they wouldn't be able to take it, even though they stole my ship. So that would be maybe a little bit different. But again, I don't know what the major use case for secure freight storage is, but I think it's cool. I think it's a great idea. I think especially it allows you to open your ship up and allow people to walk around it and not worry about them taking little stuff from you. So yes, that is a plus. The tractor beams, the 380 of cargo, and the secure freight storage, I think, are the big pluses for the Ironclad. But it's really hard to overlook component fabrication and a rearm and refuel garage. I can maybe overlook the jump seats. In fact, I think a lot of people will overlook the jump seats. But I don't know a lot of people. Like, I don't know a significant amount of people that can overlook component fabrication and rearm and refuel garage. If it could only do vehicles, people would be able to overlook it, but it can't only do vehicles. It can do vehicles and ships. And that was a major thing to pull out of the Q&A. Another major thing is this top opens and this top opens, and they seem to be the same size. I suppose they could restrict how open it goes in one ship, but I just don't see a purpose for that. I think it's only going to open back to where we see this line here, where we see these two black things. And this has the same black thing, so I'm guessing these open the same length. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't. The same way there wasn't really a reason to believe that this wasn't open in the first place down here. I think there was just us being like, we pay attention so much to everything that we're just like, what if it doesn't open? You know? But again, here's my thing about this. This opens up so much gameplay. It opens up so much gameplay. Obviously, the Ironclad is designed for cargo hauling. The Ironclad Assault is designed for vehicle hauling and ground assault, you know, and it's got improved weapons, heavier armor. I think it's hard for me to look at these ships and be like, yeah, you know what? These ships are equal. One is obviously more expensive. Their actual prices are $450 for the Ironclad, and it's $535 for the Ironclad Assault. $525 if you caught it before they fixed their mistake on the pricing. So I didn't do that. I did, and then I thought I did, and then I looked back and it was just the Ironclad. So I messed that up. I missed out on $10, free $10, right? But you know, it's fine. I have CCUs. I've saved hundreds of dollars. I'm good. But for a difference of $85, you get a low-key mobile garage that can create its own components for said garage, that can repair your ships, can repair your vehicles, And I don't if I don't need to do any assault stuff, if I don't need to do any dropship stuff, then, and I'm like completely, that's anathema to the type of gameplay that I want, there's no reason for me to have all of that, right? But I can give you a reason that you might want it. I can give you a reason you might want it. Because even if I don't want all that stuff, right? I don't need to use it to be a dropship. I don't need to use it to assault things. It's defense. It's defense. Not to mention, this is another thing that I think we're gonna be missing here, right? They said that the Ironclad Assault and Ironclad were comparable to the C2 and the M2. So it only makes sense that the Assault will have heavier armor, higher hull HP than the Ironclad, because the M2 has higher hull HP than the C2. So if you do the math, it's about 20% heavier armor. And so maybe that's something that people aren't considering either, is that the Assault is very likely to have 20% more armor than the Ironclad. So if we think defensively, and let's say all I'm running is, let's say all I want to do is run a salvage operation, right? Salvage or mining. Let's say salvage and mining. This thing could fit both, right? If I put those it works even better with mining. But if I put all those vehicles, or those ships in the Ironclad, then yes, I can fit them in there. It's great, and maybe I can like do some repairs with hand tools for small issues. But I can't refuel them. I can't refuel those ships. At some point, I'm going to have to take this whole ship back with those two ships, and I'm going to have to get fuel from another source, refuel those, and then bring them back. With the Assault, I do not have to do that. It's rearm and refuel. It's repair. I can refuel those ships, and they can come back. I can refuel them. They can go back out. Again, no combat involved. If I'm mining, maybe a few rocks exploded or whatever, that ship can come back. I can refuel it, rearm it. It can go back out. And I think, again, like I think when we think that, it has more turrets and stuff like that, we start to think, well, it's only for combat, but that's not the case. A lot of these ships have multiple purposes, right? So for instance, the A2 is meant to drop bombs, it's meant to carry vehicles, and it's meant to shoot at a lot of things if you got enough people to fill all those turret seats, right? But it can still be a cargo ship. And it's weird to use an A2 for a cargo ship, but it still carries 200 and something SCU of cargo. So it's still a decent cargo ship. It doesn't have tractor beams, but so what? Put some 24 SCU cargo things on it. It doesn't carry enough cargo to where that's going to matter anyway. But I'm just saying, when you think outside the box with these ships, I think it allows you to make better decisions when you purchase ships, right? And the jump seats in this, I think the jump seats to me are an after the fact thing, because I don't think of the jump seats are never really something that makes me buy a ship. They're more of a plus or like a cherry on top type of thing. But jump seats definitely change this to being a person transport ship as well. Think about it. If you take the Ironclad, sure, people can be on the Ironclad. You can, if you have players, you can get a whole bunch of players to like get on this ship and lay down, and then they don't have to worry about anything. They'll just lay down, and you can fit hundreds of people on the ship, right? But if you got NPCs, they need somewhere to sit. If I'm going to transport people, this becomes a ship where I can transport 1152 SCU. I can transport 4 tanks, or, some crazy amount of other vehicles. And I can transport 34 people, not including crew. So that's 40 total people. I just think, what can it not do when it comes to transporting things, right? And then so then we talk about the ability to transport ships, right? I hope you weren't planning on trying to put like gigantic ships in this thing anyway, because you weren't going to be able to do that, and you're not going to be able to do that with the Ironclad either. This is going to be able to transport smaller ships, and you might be able to. I mean, obviously, if you're fitting like snubs and stuff in there, obviously it's going to be able to fit multiple snubs. But if you're thinking small to medium ships, you probably fit one medium in there, and not all mediums will fit. It's going to be the smaller mediums, and then small ships. You're probably not even going to be able to fit all the small ships in there, but you can fit a few small ships in there. One or two, which, again, do you want to put that in this ship, which cannot refuel and rearm, or this ship, which can refuel, rearm, and repair? It just seems like a no-brainer to me when I think about what I want to do with the ship. So that's why I think the Assault is the better ship. It just opens up so many possibilities. So why would I say get the Ironclad if you don't? Why would I say get the Ironclad at all, I guess? I say get the Ironclad if you're not interested in anything except cargo. If cargo is the one thing that you know you're going to want to do with this, you're not taking vehicles, you're not taking ships, or if you're going to take a bunch of snub ships with you and you're just using it as like a pocket carrier, I would say the Ironclad is slightly better in that role, even with this having the garage, because you're going to be able to fit more ships in here. So if your primary role is pocket carrier, I think it's better to be able to fit more ships than to have the garage, because you just have more ships that can fly and do, right? But that's going to make we have to see how many more ships that can fit in it, because we still don't have the exact dimensions of this internal. So assuming, let's say you can fit, just for the sake of math, let's say this can fit 8 Furies and this can fit 9 Furies. That's not a big enough difference. I would go with the garage, right? Now let's say this can fit 8 Furies and this can fit 10 Furies. Now I'm starting to waffle a little bit, but I still might go with the garage. But what I think might happen, because 384 is a lot of space, I think this will be able to fit 11 or 12 Furies, and this will be able to fit 8 Furies. And just, not those exact numbers, but like the difference, right? And if that's the case, I would rather put 12 Furies in this with 12 people that can operate the Furies than 8 people, knowing that those people can come back and I can repair them or whatever, right? So I do think this is the better ship if you're going to just use it as a pocket carrier for snubs. And I do think, obviously, this is the better cargo ship. It carries more cargo, has the tractor beams, and it has the secure freight storage. So that is who it's for. If you are cargo oriented, or you only want it as a pocket carrier for ships, for small snub ships, then this is your ship. You don't have to look at the Ironclad. If there's any other thing that you want to do, you get the Assault, because it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you own a reclaimer, then you know how cool that component fabrication thing is inside of the reclaimer. So especially for people who know already that they don't want to own a repair ship. If you're not interested in the Vulcan, you're not interested in the Crucible, this is your way out. This is your, okay, well, I could just get one of these and then I'm not locked into repair, right? You can fight with it if you want. If you got it fully manned, you could probably last pretty long in some space fighting. I would focus this more heavily on ground fighting, but it definitely, with all the turrets it has, it can do okay. It's not going to be great. That's not, because it's not what it's for. It's more meant for like in atmosphere fighting or ground assault type tactics, obviously. But yeah, I can imagine this being a ship where when I have 4 or 5 people that are with me, and we all got ships, and we all want to go on a mission together, but we all want to bring our own vehicles. This can fit any combination of vehicles that we want, right? You could see if I have 5 people with me, obviously one would have to be in the service area, but you could fit 5 tanks on this thing. So if we all 5 of us want to bring tanks, which is tanks are the largest vehicle in the game, we can all bring tanks. And I think that alone is crazy. Not to mention, don't forget about this little area back here, because when you watch the video, it actually shows you. Oh, actually, you can see it right here. There's multiple vehicles you can fit back here too. This has 2 vehicles, I think, back here. Now this one, maybe it's a little bit smaller of an area back here because you have the whole component stuff, but you could still fit a vehicle or 2 back there. So again, and that's not to mention, like, you could fit some, in between these, you can fit, some hover bikes. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's if I just want to take vehicles. If I could fit, this fits at least 4 snub ships in here comfortably. We're not struggling for space here, right? Or, well, 5 snub ships in here without struggling for space. You can repair, yes. You can refuel, that's big. Rearming, okay. Like, if no, that's big too. I'm trying here. I'm trying to give the Ironclad more leeway, but I can't. Okay, I like, think about what you do with a snub ship, right? You want snub ships to hit hard and then go back and rearm, right? Why? One of the main reasons we don't put ballistics on weapons is because we know we're gonna have to go all the way back to a planet or a space station to rearm, and that takes a lot, right? But if the assault is sitting somewhere in the background and all you did was just fly forward with your snub, you run out of fuel, you can come back to the assault, land it inside, rearm your ballistics, and go back out. That is huge. Now, you'll probably be able to rearm ballistics in some way by using some hand tool at some point. But I just think this, obviously, if something has rearm capability, it's going to be faster than doing it some other way, or it's going to be more efficient, or whatever. It's going to be able to do more, higher level, whatever it is, right? And that's huge for people who want to use, something as a pocket carrier, right? So, and the refueling, I think, goes without saying, especially if you're using snubs. They're going to run out of fuel fairly fast, and they're going to need to come back and refuel. And I think being able to cycle people in and out of combat is huge. But transporting ships, this is going to be better at the transporting. If you're just transporting them from point A to point B, the Ironclad's going to be better at that because it can fit more of them. Easy. Another thing about this, again, I keep talking about the jump seats, but it's very important to understand that with 34 jump seats, that is a dedicated place for them to sit, right? So when you look along here, you can see these are dedicated spots, right? Now, I'm not sure, when I look here, it kind of looks like this is just unused space here. And when I look here, it looks like those are jump seats. Because you can see ... Those are like the little head things, and this doesn't have the same little head things. So I'm pretty sure the jump seats are just co-located here, right? Which would make sense why you would have an armory here, because your whole attack force doesn't even need to come back here. They can stay up here and maintain their vehicles and everything. They come up here, get their weapons, and boom, they're gone. Obviously, you have the turret seats, but yeah. And I think there's more jump seats back here, because when you look here, these aren't jump seats. This is just some like covered area back here, but it's uncovered down here, and you can see that there's jump seats here. So the jump seats are again, they're just the cherry on top. I wouldn't buy it just because it has the jump seats. But I think the ability to carry that many people is one thing, but the ability to let that many people just be in that area, like, you know, people, even people, right? People aren't going to want to get on your ship all the time and just lay down and be like, oh, I wish I had an actual seat or something, right? And I'm guessing in the future, like sitting in seats and stuff will have some like advantage or something like that, because you don't want jump seats to just be useless. But even without that level of speculation, I think it's adding stuff to an area that otherwise, I mean, obviously you could fit a little bit more cargo back there because you don't have the seat poking out. But I just don't. You're not losing that much cargo, man. You're not losing that much cargo. So, what do I think? I think both are worth a purchase. I think if you want if you need the cargo, obviously if that's what you're doing, you go with this. If you want to do anything else and you're not cargo specific, I think you should get the Assault. Obviously these can be bought in game. They both come with the same command module. Don't forget you get 6 jump seats in the command module regardless of which one you get. So I forgot to add that to the Ironclad. That brings this to 46 and that brings this one to 12. 46, 12. But still, well, actually it's probably more than that because you got this pilot seat, co-pilot seat, and comm seat. So that's 49. Wait, and it has a turret. That's a remote turret though, so that's for the co-pilot. So yeah, so that's 49 and 15. That's a massive difference in the amount of people that you can take with you. Huge difference. But still, I think the Ironclad has a role. I don't think anybody who buys the Ironclad should be upset or mad or, you know, I don't think you can make a wrong decision here. I think if you get the Ironclad and you're like later on like, man, I wish I would have got the Assault, you'll be able to just upgrade to it. It's not a big deal. But I don't think you'll regret it because I think the Ironclad is a great ship. I was ready. And in fact, I did say the Ironclad was the best of the 3 ships, but that was assuming that the top couldn't open. Because for those people who are worried about the top not being the top, you know, the top can open. But a lot of people were like, well, what's the point if I don't have tractor beams? You're going to have to get an MPUV tractor or a SRV or a raft. Obviously, you're going to have to get one of those ships to fill this up. Now, here's what I say. I don't know if you've seen how big the MPUV tractor is, but think about it. We've got this bay here, right? And we got a little bit of area back here. I'm thinking that an MPUV tractor will either, if it doesn't fit back here, I wouldn't mind sacrificing not being able to bring 4 tanks to sit an MPUV tractor back here. Look at the space that we have in between these tanks. There's an open area right here. If you move these tanks forward a little bit, you could still fit 4 tanks and probably an MPUV tractor back there. It's gonna block something, obviously, but if you need to carry I don't see you needing to take an MPUV tractor with you, you know, everywhere, right? But as a small ship that has tractor beams, along with the fact that you all will have your hand tractor beams too, I think that's fine. And also, don't forget, 1 personally held tractor beam can't move a 32 SU cargo container in the future, but 2 can. So if you both, you know, do your cross streams thing like it's a Ghostbusters movie, then you can still move a 32 SCU cargo container. So when you don't have the tractor beams, it does make things a little bit more like you got to figure out a way. But it's not impossible. So there you have it. That, I think, is enough. I don't think I forgot anything. The roles, I guess, maybe the use cases. I think you get the I think I said this already, but the Ironclad, it's like you get it for if you want a bulk holder, maybe if a bulk hauler. If you want like a mobile trading post, if you want to do like search and rescue, I think that's, you know, like I said, it's the best bang for the buck cargo ship you can get. The Hull C, I think, is a little overpriced at $500. It carries obviously more cargo than this, and it's $50 more than this. But I just think having those, you know, like, I think if I'm getting a ship, I would rather have the Ironclad than a Hull C right now, just because its multi-role capability and its ability to carry different types of cargo. I think the Hull C should be left to people who are you know, I want to go to point A from point B, and I'll always have security type folks. The Ironclad, I think it's literally a forward operating base, mobile repair, resupply, heavy escort, planetary escort. I mean, it's a full drop ship. It's like, I mean, the way I could say it is this, and this I think sums up the Ironclad Assault. It's a full drop ship. It's a full vehicle transport ship. It's a full ground assault ship. It's a full small vehicle and small ship repair garage. And it's a full, well, I would say it's a 3/4 of a cargo ship. So that's all the ships you get with the Assault. Drop ship, transport ship, ground assault ship, small vehicle, ship repair garage, and 3/4 of a cargo ship. That's what you get with the Assault. And I think that is what tips the scales in favor of the Assault. All right. That is it for this one. I don't know how long that was, but I hope you kind of understood my process there. You know, I've already done a Liberator versus Ironclad video, so go and check that one out if you were wondering why I didn't mention the Liberator or any of that stuff. But yeah, I think the Assault's the way to go. So, all right, see you in the next one. Peace.